Bye-bye.
Hi, good evening. This evening we start and kick off the Bizpreneur Women's Month. We have an all-women lineup and we'll be discussing various topics that are so exciting. But for today, I thought we cannot start to talk about many other topics before we start with our purpose. And we have a special guest this evening, Dr. Nadine Collins, who's going to take us through our episode this evening called Living in Your Purpose. And I'll ask her to introduce herself. Welcome, Nadine.
Hi, nice to be here with you. My name is Nadine and not Nadine, but that's normal. People call me actually that.
Oh,
But I'm
Nadine.
Nadine. Yes, I'm Nadine Collins. I am a spiritual wellness coach. I also am a prayer counselor, an author, and an international speaker. And I currently work with women globally, helping them to either work on developing or deepen their prayer lives, and also in helping them to actually uncover what their true purpose is so that they can build successful lives around it.
Awesome. That is a unique career. We don't come across a lot of people who will say they are interested in the spiritual well-being of women. So thank you so much for making time to chat with us this evening. And it's the afternoon for you. Maybe you can share with us where you are.
Yes, it's actually 12 noon right now. I am living on I'm on the Eastern time zone in the US here in Georgia. So it's 12 noon, bright and sunny on the outside. And yeah, but I'm happy to be with you ladies. Spending the evening in South Africa. I mean, how blessed am I, right?
Yes, and then you'll go back to the afternoon. Okay. So I have a few questions that we had shared with us when we released the topic for this evening. And I'll start off with, perhaps you can share with us, what does living in your purpose mean?
Okay, living in your purpose. I know that's a really important question for a lot of us as women. And we've heard the word purpose, I guess, being thrown around so many times. You're like, what is that, right? And so, because of the work I do with women, and because, of course, as you would know, Elona, the basis for all of the work that I do with women, regardless of my whatever coaching programs I'm doing with women, whether one-on-one or even in group coaching, and so whatever it is, the basis of what I'm doing is prayer. And I bring prayer because when we're speaking about purpose, prayer is really definitely linked to it because it's one of the ways that we can uncover our true purpose very quickly. And so you ask the question, what is living in your purpose? And for me, based on the work that I have done with women, and also because of my own personal journey and story, I believe that your true purpose or your purpose is really living a life that is aligned with the will of God for you. It's living the life that was destined for you in a sense, the life that you were created for. And so you are living a life that is yours. Because one of the things I find for a lot of women is that we are living imposter lives. A lot of us are living lives that are not ours, even though we may be successful at it, even though we may be having an impact and so on. We continue to live with this uncomfortable feeling as if we're meant to do something more or something different. And so when you're living in your true purpose, you have that sense of personal fulfillment, you have that sense of peace, you have that sense of ease, because what you're doing is what you're meant to do. And so essentially, it's just about living in alignment with the will of God for you, doing what you're meant to do, what you were designed and destined to do.
Okay, awesome. And of course, you could be successful and feeling unfulfilled. That's some of the ways that I, at some point, got to a point where I felt I was doing my work to tick a box, and it wasn't it wasn't really aligned. And for me, that is when discovering my true purpose became really important.
Yes.
So I like the examples that you've given. And somebody asked, so if everything's going well, does it mean that I'm living in my purpose?
That's a really interesting question. If everything is going well, sometimes everything is going well, but that's not an indicator of my true purpose. I mean, I was living a life where I was doing really good, right? I was having an impact. I was getting to do exactly what I would love to do at the time. And so the
Yeah.
angle I'm going to take for this one is this: your purpose changes at different phases and stages in your life.
Wow,
So
that's
it's not
yeah.
like you're here and you're just going to do the one thing. However, what I've learned from my personal experience and what I've also learned as I connect with and work with clients, especially one-on-one and so on, we are able to see from my experience and from even theirs that sometimes, even though the purpose changes, there's this root or there's this great connect with all the things that you are called to do and these things
Yeah.
that you're meant to do at these different phases and stages in your life. And so at this stage in my life, I may have been having an impact. I may be doing what I was supposed to do at this phase of my life. The
Yeah.
greatest mistake I could make is to stay there believing that this is it for the rest of my life.
Yes, yes,
And so
yes.
that happened to me already when I worked at the university and so on. I mean, it was an amazing experience. I was having an impact and everything was going well. But going well is not an indicator because sometimes something is going well doesn't mean that it's the right thing. But at
Yeah.
that point, I knew that it was my purpose. But as I went and I did my PhD and I was finished my PhD and I asked God, what now?
Okay.
Because I need to know what my purpose is for this phase because I felt that there was a higher calling because of course I had done a higher level of study. I had
Mm.
greater experiences and therefore the calling would be greater because to whom much is given, much is required. And so
Yes.
we need to be, that's why again, I love prayer so much. And that's why I think even when you did the speaker mentorship, I gave you access to the certified prayer counselor class. I don't know if you did it,
Yes.
but I
Not
know
yet.
a difference for a lot of women because when we're in that search of purpose, that pursuit of purpose, not just for now, but at every stage of our lives, being very conscious that I need to know what my purpose is for now, prayer is really key to that. And I
Awesome.
think I want to
Mhm.
add one more thing for that question. Even though the reason why I said even though something is going good, it doesn't necessarily mean that this is where you're meant to be because every good thing is not a God thing.
Okay. Okay.
So we need to
Awesome.
just be very conscious of being connected and understanding, is this what I'm meant to do? Because sometimes that good thing might prevent you from being or doing the great thing that you're meant to do.
Yes, yes. So it may be good, but it's not necessarily great.
And not necessarily in your alignment, even though it's going good, because sometimes it's that place of comfort. You know, I'm in my comfort zone, things are going good, but that comfort zone is preventing me from actualizing into my greatness. And so we have to be very careful about the good thing because the good thing may not necessarily be what is the great thing for me to do. It may just mean that I'm in my comfort zone and I don't want to
Yeah.
step out of that comfort zone. I don't want to challenge myself. I have that fixed mindset. So we have to be kind of careful with the good thing, if that makes
Yes.
sense, right?
Yes, it definitely does. So I like that you've said that stepping into your purpose is not a bad thing. It's not necessarily stepping away from a bad life or bad activities. It's
Mhm,
just stepping up,
mhm,
if I may say that.
mhm.
Okay, so from your story, what have you found, and from the clients you work with, what is the benefit of living in your purpose?
Oh, I mean, come on now. That is like, you see, like I breathe out. It's that relieving because when you're living your true purpose, when you're living in alignment with what you're meant to do, there's that great sense of peace,
Hmm.
right? There's that great sense of peace because I'm not an imposter. I'm living true to my authentic self and authentic mission here on the earth, right? I'm also living true in how I bring myself to people because every single one of us have this amazing thing to do in the world, and that's our purpose,
Yeah.
right? And
Yes,
if
yes.
we're not doing that, it means that many people are being denied the opportunity to get what they need, to do what they need to do, because I am not doing what I'm meant to do. And so
Okay.
it's about that personal fulfillment. It's about that impact that you're meant to have. It's about alignment and how alignment brings you that peace and that fulfillment as well. And so the benefits of living in your true purpose really is also going to allow you to wake up every day driven and motivated, even when you're not motivated. But
Yeah.
just because you know you have to show up in a particular way, it makes a big difference for you. And so I personally don't understand how people actually live. And I was sharing with someone on Sunday, I was sharing with a coach that I was having a session with. I was like, if I don't know what my true purpose is, I think I will die literally. Because not
Yes, yes,
waking up
yes.
every day, not knowing why I'm here, what I'm meant to do, versus the living in my purpose, knowing that every day I wake up to serve women, every day I get to inspire women, every day I get to impact women, and so on, helping them to rise to high levels of themselves, to dream dreams that they never dreamt. I mean,
Yeah.
that itself is like just amazing. It's fulfilling. And so these are just some of the superficial blessings of living in your purpose. There's so many other blessings and benefits attached to living in your purpose and so on.
Awesome. So, if you're not in your purpose and not feeling fulfilled, it's something that you feel within yourself, even if the world is telling you, but you're doing great, your life is going well. I mean, you will come to a point where you feel, but I am still swimming against the tide.
Mm-hmm.
So, now that we've laid the foundation that it is a great space to be in, to know what your purpose is for this stage of your life,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to do it. A lot of women are filled with fear,
Mm-hmm.
doubt, questioning themselves. You work with women as well. I'm sure you've come across many who say, I have a sense I should be doing this, I should start my business, I should switch jobs, I should study further, but
Mm-hmm.
something, fear, I should say fear, fear stops them. What strategies do you tend to provide women who are on the verge of something, but something else holds them back? Fear holds them back.
Yes, this question is like so laden because I work predominantly with Christian women, right?
Okay.
And fear of every kind conceivable is the reason why they're not living the life that was designed for them.
Okay.
And so over the past few months during this COVID crisis, I have done so many webinars just around fear and helping them to uncover what these fears are and deal with these fears so that they can become master of their fears. And so
Ah.
I've seen firsthand how fear prevents women from stepping into their true purpose. I have seen how fear prevents many women from actualizing. And so a lot of the tools that I would, even like this month of August, I'll be doing a fear to freedom challenge. I'll
Yes.
also be doing a 5-day fear to freedom challenge, and I'll be doing a masterclass called Cracking the Fear Code, because I know that what stands between a lot of women and their destiny or their true purpose is that fear. And so some of the practical tools that I've been sharing with them, it's really about uncovering, first of all, being courageous enough to identify your fears, to kind of deal with where the root cause of that fear, where did it come from? What's the emergence of that fear? And then being able to understand that that fear does not have power over you. In fact, I have a really weird view about fear.
Okay.
And I could share it with you and,
Yes, please.
and our audience, because for me personally, and what I've been sharing with women over the past few months, and what I'm going to be focusing on this month of August as well, is that fear, for example, for me, fear is not really an enemy, but an indicator of where I need to be. Because
Okay.
I think like the very thing that you fear, it's possibly the thing that you're supposed to be doing. And of course, I take that from a biblical perspective for those of us who are Christians and so on, just looking at the idea that the Bible says God has not given us a spirit of fear. So if he's
Yes.
not given me
Yes.
that spirit of fear and that fear is there, this is probably just an indicator for me of where I should be focusing my energies or where I may be successful, but there is another spirit preventing me from wanting to access what I'm supposed to do. And so I see fear, like I've come to the conclusion and to that place where when fear comes, I tell it, thank you for showing up because you just helped me. You just helped me to know what I should be doing, right? So it's a really weird perspective of fear. But I mean, you ladies kind of tend that fear to cracking the fear code like masterclass and so on. I'm going to go a little deep into that. I'm going to do that challenge. And I've done some webinars already, like I said, about 4 of them. But I can tell you, if we recognize that fear is not our master and we reach the position of mastering our fears,
yes,
it has nothing on us. You know?
Awesome. So that's really interesting. When you experience fear, it's an indicator to keep going.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Awesome. So like I also come across a lot of women who say, I wish I could just start because people who started 5 years ago or whatever look like they're having it easy. How do you motivate or work with women who are afraid to take the first step to doing what they're destined to do?
That's the thing, right? If you saw somebody 5 years ago start and you didn't start, and you can see it 5 years later and you're still afraid to start, then something is really wrong. Because the mere fact that somebody started 5 years ago and you're witness to it, and that still has not motivated you 5 years later, seeing the success to not make the move, it means there are some serious hindrances, things that need to be dealt with. The thing is, when a woman is ready to do what she has to do, she will do it regardless.
Okay.
Right? Women who are fearless, who understand that they're meant for greatness and all that stuff, even when things are not in place, even when she does not have all of the resources, all of the support, all of the money, all of this, all of that, she will just go with it. When you are ready, it's almost like you're pregnant, right? Okay. And your belly's growing. You know the analogy I used last year, November.
Yes, please share it.
Right? You're pregnant and the water bag has just busted and you have to give birth. There's no way you're going to be trying to tie that belly up. No way you're trying to push that baby back inside. You just push. So when the woman is ready to birth her purpose, when she's ready for her to step out, nothing is going to hold her back. She's just going to just push it out. Ready or not, I am here.
Awesome.
That baby just comes out. And
that's an interesting analogy because yes, I'm sure a lot of women can.
You remember that crazy thing I did last year in South Africa?
Yes.
That it just came to mind about that woman 5 years ago. You're not going to be carrying a baby 5 years. You gotta give birth to it. You gotta push. So when she's ready, she will not be able to hold it back. She's like, you know what? I've held back for too long. This is killing me. Not living in my purpose is killing me. I'm stifling myself. This is poisoning my system. I need to get it out. I need to do what I'm meant to do, you know? And so I think when she's ready, she's going to push. Nothing is going to keep her back. When the time is right, that water bag bursts, she just got to push.
Okay. So what are the ways in which women can stop those limiting beliefs? You know, I mean, this is a powerful metaphor that when the water breaks, there's no turning back, you know, and it has to do obviously with the things we tell ourselves. You've told yourself that fear is an indicator for something positive coming, right? How did you get to that point to be able to shift the narrative?
Yes, that's a thing. That's a really, really nice question. You see, the thing is, I grew up in a small island in the Caribbean, St. Lucia. And my family wasn't poor, but we were not rich. Okay? When I graduated from high school, I worked for 9 years before I went off to college at the age of 26.
Okay.
Why did I take so long? Fear. I thought that I didn't go because I didn't have the money, right? Because I didn't have any finances or anybody to say, okay, well, let me send you to college. I was working at a bank at the time, and I could not afford to take a loan because I didn't have anybody to guarantee the loan for me. So I thought
Yeah.
I wasn't going to college because I had no money. But
Mm.
9 years later, I woke up fully impressed, hearing the voice of God, just saying the name of the college. And the following day, I go to work and I resign my job.
Oh.
And the next 2 weeks, I was in college. Guess what? I still did not have money. But what changed
Okay.
was my faith.
Okay.
And so now that began a totally different shift in everything for me because I realized that money is not the problem sometimes. A lot of times we're thinking, I don't have the money to start my business. I don't have the finances to do this or to do that. But the
Mm.
thing is, there are underlying factors like fear controlling us. So once I realized that money could not prevent me from doing anything I desired to do, it didn't prevent me from traveling to over 70 countries without having any money in the bank. It didn't prevent me
Wow.
from doing my master's and my PhD. It didn't prevent me from doing anything that I desired to do. Then I realized money was not the problem.
Mm.
And so that fear to freedom for me really shifted when I first made that step, when I decided I'm just going to go because 9 years, trust me, nine
Yeah.
years, I could have done undergrad, master's, and PhD during that time. This is what I did when I actually went ahead and did my studies. But for 9 years, I didn't do anything because of the fear factors that were hindering me until I realized that I needed to just take a step of faith, take action. And once we take action, everything else falls in line. And these are
Awesome.
the
Yeah.
principles I try to teach women because I come across so many women who have a lot of these same fears, false beliefs that if I don't have the money to do something, it cannot be done. If I don't have
Yeah.
the support from my family, it cannot be done. If people are going to judge me, then I shouldn't be doing this. And there are so many false beliefs that we are using in our own heads. We're speaking defeat into our own experiences
Yeah.
and then we wonder why it is she did this 5 years ago and she's successful when you had the opportunity, probably even before her, to do it. And so we need
Yes.
to begin to talk ourselves out of the negative thoughts, talk ourselves out of these limiting beliefs, and recognize, as I had to come to personally recognize, and as I see women do, as I work with them, just
Yeah.
shift. I mean, it's amazing when I work with a woman and I see a shift takes place from her having all of these limiting beliefs about what she should be doing to just reaching that place of like total liberation, recognizing whether or not I have the support, whatever, I'm going with what I have right now. And these are
Yes.
the types of
Yes.
women I like to work with, fearless women in their minds who are not going to allow anything to hinder them. Just step out in faith, take action, and everything else will follow.
Awesome. I really, really like that. It really begins with what stories are we telling ourselves about the opportunities that lie ahead. And of course, yes, the fear becomes the prison. And
Yeah.
9 years is very, very long.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else would have thought, oh, it's too late. Everybody else in college is 18 and I'm now too old. The narrative keeps changing the further we go. Yeah.
True.
So you've mentioned that taking action is very important. So yes, you talk yourself out of the negativity and you start to think positive. You start to think it's possible, and then you take action.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that they can do in terms of taking action? And I'm now speaking in terms of starting businesses, going further in their careers.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the insights you can give there, where, just for context, over here you find people will have limitations like race.
Mm-hmm.
They will feel discriminated on the basis of race, in terms of gender in the workplace. I'm not getting promoted, men are getting promoted, other races are getting promoted, all these other things. What are some of the insights you have for a woman who feels stuck in her career, like she's not growing and is seeing these contextual blocks?
I think I would say you're probably not where you're meant to be
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes these obstacles are there they're literally in our way to let us understand that I don't need to be limited in this particular sphere. context. I need to be working for me. I need to do this. I need to do that. It may mean we change jobs, we change careers, we change location, we begin to do things differently. I can give a personal experience. It's not my personal experience, but it's a client I worked with in a program, Runway to Soar. It's a coaching program I had, and there was this young lady who was getting ready to launch a book. She is Black. I know in South Africa you guys call colored and da 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 da, but she's Black, right?
Yeah.
And so she's dark skinned, and she lives in an area that only has Caucasian people.
Okay.
She works in a school with only Caucasian people. She goes to church with only Caucasian people.
Okay.
When she was getting ready to launch her book, which she actually did on July 20th, when she was getting ready to launch the book, we had that quote, she was in the coaching experience before that.
Okay.
And so we were speaking about, what her environment was like and how she felt unsupported and judged and this and that, because she is the only Black person in her community. And so to see another Black person, she'd probably drive a few hours. And so now she's saying, I want to do this thing and I know it's good and they see that I am this and that, but I'm fearful that they're not going to support me. They're not going to do this, they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We went through the sessions day after day. Let me tell you, by the time we were finished, and then I had a masterclass and she came there, I could not believe the woman who was speaking. She reached the point of saying with her own mouth, I will go ahead and have my book launch. And if one person shows up, that's fine for me. Because she reached that point of recognizing that she could not limit her progress because of what people would do, whether they supported her or not supported her, whether they judged her or not, especially because she was the only Black person around. Every single one of us as women have to reach that point where we realize that, number one, nobody can really limit us but ourselves. Yes, I know in reality, we may be in the workplace and we maybe see other people getting promoted and we're not. Maybe you just need to create, I said something a few years ago when I was on a radio interview. I was like, and it came out of my mouth and I was shocked. Create your own table. We fight to get a seat at somebody else's table. You don't need to be there. Go pull up your own table and get other women to be at that table with you.
Yes.
And so a lot of times we're struggling in these systems and these organizations and so on for us to actually go higher when we could create our own niche. We don't need to be working for these people. When it comes to gender and race, we have some serious issues, especially for us as women of color. We call ourselves in the West women of color. We're talking about Black women. Okay, yeah. We have some serious issues. I know in South Africa, these issues also exist, even more so. But what I'm thinking is that nobody can prevent you from starting a successful business at your home. Nobody can prevent you, from opening your own company and hiring only Black women to work for you. Nobody can stop you from doing that. And also because of the online platform, you don't need to force yourself to get clients in your vicinity. The world is your stage. Don't limit yourself to your particular context. You have an entire world out there that you can actually work with people. And so I think it's a lot of times we look at these external hindrances and obstacles, but if we begin to break down these obstacles in our own head and realize, let me tell you, when you're fearless, when you are fierce, just like that young lady did, because guess what? She did her book launch and it was a success. But it first had to happen in her own mind, and then for her to begin to attract the right people to come to her event. Because if she was at that place she was before we had that coaching experience where she was down and she was feeling like an outsider, she had all of these things that were real to her because of where she was. But from the moment she broke that in her head, it's like it's a different level of confidence that you have. It will attract the right people to you. So I'm saying for us ladies, we need to now begin to look at the energy that we are exuding within ourselves, the stories we tell ourselves of defeat. We focusing on these obstacles and these barriers instead of realizing that we have the power to create.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just want to pause and read one of the comments. Mutugazi says, she is talking to me. Pumla says, I needed to hear this. And I'm sure there's so many other women. I mean, I can share my story. I think I've consistently created my own table because I refuse to accept that, oh, I wish I could be included there. Instead, I've decided I'm the one that includes others, because the problem that you face, perhaps other women in your circle are facing it too. So like you say, we have the power to create as women. So I like that you speak about that. The world over has so many barriers. We have so many closed doors. Sometimes I'm sitting in my small corner thinking I'm the only woman on earth who has had a door shut on her, or a rejection of a proposal or whatever. But the strength is in knowing exactly why you want to do it. This is aligned to me. This is something I want to do, and taking action. I just have one more question from, it says, I hear you and I love the passion that you bring to the screen, and I'm motivated to start. How can I remind myself every day? What are the things you do every day to have this passion? The daily habits.
Well, I think when you are aligned with your true purpose, like I say, like even the days when I am not motivated, because honestly, I'm not motivated every single day to just go out there and to just do what I need to do. Like showing up on Facebook and doing a live and so on. It takes a lot of energy from me. But I think what makes a difference to me is knowing that I am making a difference in the lives of other women. It's knowing that I am able to, help women do what they're meant to do. And so what I would say to you is to begin to affirm yourself. These are some of the principles I share with women. Is this daily affirmations, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's like speaking to yourself the same way we are speaking a lot of negativity to ourselves, is reaching that point of saying to ourselves the positive things. Literally, it's a practice I give to women. Begin to write your positive affirmations. Begin to tell yourself things. A lot of times as women, what we do is we wait for somebody else to tell us. I'll give that as an example. It's a frivolous one, back in the point. We wait for people to tell us we're beautiful.
Yes.
Okay? When you stand in the mirror and say to yourself, oh gosh, you're a beautiful Black woman,
yes,
right?
Definitely.
We wait for people to give us roses because we like it. And we're like, oh, it's Valentine's Day, it's my birthday, it's my anniversary, it's this, it's that. I like roses. And then when the people don't show up with roses, you vex.
Very sad.
You begin to buy yourself the roses.
Okay.
You begin to tell yourself what you think people should be telling you. Because think about it. If you're not telling it to yourself, then how could you be upset with somebody for not saying it to you? And so what I would say is affirm yourself. Okay. But deeper than affirming yourself is coming to the understanding and recognition of who you are.
Okay.
Realizing that you are important, that you are special, that you are here for a purpose. Because when you begin to ground yourself in an understanding that you are more than you even know,
yes,
then it will take you less work. So the day I don't tell myself, oh, you're a pretty Black woman, I'm still okay. I still love me because I already understand who I am in my core, right? And so my advice would be is to have that deep understanding of who you are, what you're meant to do, why you are here. And as you begin to do that and do your self-affirmations, if that's what you need, because I know some people need it more than others because of all of the negativity that they have heard growing up. And they have to do a lot more positive self-talk because there's so much negative stuff in there. If you have to do the work, do the work, but don't wait on people to do it for you. Do it for yourself. Affirm yourself, understand your greatness and affirm that greatness and go in pursuit of your purpose. So that when it is you are doing what you're meant to do, whether or not people are supporting you, whether or not you feel as if you're being judged or criticized, you'll be okay. Because you understand who you are, why you're here, and what you're doing, and the purpose for which you're doing it.
I really love that, because you're basically saying you decide whether you are happy or you're not. You decide whether what goes in is positive or negative. Yes. So those affirmations are very important in the stories that we tell ourselves. Do we choose to believe what somebody outside tells you, or do you believe what you've affirmed yourself to be? Thank you for that one. I mean, people always think it might be a simple thing to affirm yourself, but it goes a long way. I just have a comment. It says, I love what you're talking about. Once we acknowledge the power that lies within us, we can not only rise, but rise with other women beside us.
Exactly.
There's really power in rising together.
Right. It's true.
With
There is.
other women.
And then it will also break down a lot of the issues that we have among ourselves as women. Because when you understand your greatness, you're not threatened by the greatness of another woman because you realize that she's not your competition. And so it puts you in a unique position to celebrate her because I'm not competing with you. And what you're meant to do, the purpose for which you are here, is not the purpose for which I'm here. So I can fully celebrate what you are doing because I understand that I am also here for a unique purpose. And the purpose for which I'm here, it doesn't affect you either.
Yeah.
And when we are able to do that, it will help us to be authentically supportive of other women.
That is really important. And one of the key themes for Women's Month is for people to start to shift that somebody else's success doesn't take away from me. And it's okay to celebrate another woman's success that comes before yours.
Yeah.
Another comment says, I'm loving the conversation and inspiration to women. Understanding the social responsibilities that women have. What advice do you have to the woman who sometimes tries too many things at once and struggles to balance it all?
Yeah, I think, I mean, that is a common human problem where we sometimes say, when they say you are, you specialize in everything, but you're master of none. It's the same advice we give to anybody. If you want to be successful at something, then you need to focus. That's why we're talking about purpose. Because if you're focused on your purpose, then you will not be doing every and anything, right? If you focus on your purpose, you will be doing what is in alignment with what you're meant to do. So if you're doing everything, then you know for sure that you're not living in your purpose. Because if you're living in your purpose, you will not be doing everything. And so it's about having that discipline to be able to focus on what it is you're meant to do.
Yeah. I'm just going to read some of our YouTube comments. Busi says, what a wonderful analogy. She was referring to the pregnancy one. Giving birth to your purpose. And also T says, what a wonderful thing to say. Live a life that is yours and aligned to your purpose. So on the note of finding your purpose and finding your focus, the comment says you spoke about it changing and potentially changing as we grow in life. How do you keep yourself focused in the different stages?
I mean, if you're a focused person, you're a focused person. So whichever stage you are in life, you're going to be focused. So your focus should not be on, oh, what is I'm going to do at the next level. When you get to the next level, you will know that the purpose will change because you're going to feel the shift that's going to come with it. That's why you have to really live in alignment, especially with God, for those of us who are believers. Because when you reach that point of transition, you are going to feel it because you're going to know, hey, you know what? I'm supposed to be doing something else or something more than I'm doing right now. And so if we practice being focused and diligent when we're doing one thing, that very same habit and practice will be carried on into something else. And so I think it's just about using, because as women, a lot of the characteristics we have in one thing, we carry through in something else. And so practicing being focused and so on is helpful.
Yeah. So basically, our personal habits that we sometimes think don't impact our professional lives or our business lives tend to spill over. So if I'm a procrastinator at home, chances are I'm going to procrastinate at work. And I think there was just one more. Time is flying.
Yes.
You've given us really amazing strategies. A lot of there's a big focus on women this month,
Yeah.
opportunities that they can take and how they can keep balance. So somebody says, I'm struggling with trying to be perfect. Is that something that can be undone? Is it possible to be free from the need to be perfect?
Yeah, I mean, that's a deep question because it means there are some issues that needs to be dealt with. Because there must have been something that happened in childhood that would make you feel the need that you must be perfect now. So maybe you were compared to somebody else, your parents, some family member, somebody, teacher must have said, you know, you should be more like this person and use this other person as an example of perfection. And now, you know, you feel as if you're not. It's just ironic because I just read a comment from one of my clients this morning who's in that same room with us program. And she's saying to me, the reason why I always felt like I wasn't good enough is because I was constantly compared to my sister, who was shown as a picture of perfection by my parents. And when I went to school and when I went to this school, because they went to the same school, the sister is older. And she said she has been carrying that weight all her life. Again, wanting to be perfect because she was always being compared to a perfect person. And so you now need to do the work to see where did that come from? What makes me feel as if I have to be perfect? And I'm sure it stems from childhood. I'm sure it stems from something that was said, maybe repeatedly. And so now you feel that if you're not being perfect, then you're not good enough. But now you need to begin to tell yourself, and begin to tell yourself things differently. And whatever you or whoever you were compared with at that time, you need to begin to undo that work from childhood, go back to your childhood and start speaking that thing away and realize you were not born to be compared to anybody else because you were born special and unique for a great purpose. And whoever you were compared with or whatever is causing you to feel that you must be perfect, that doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
And so it's now about redoing the work in your mind. It's about undoing the negative things that were done and now being intentional about the positive stuff.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I think a lot of people don't start because of fear of failure. And that's also linked to saying everything must be in perfect order before I
Yeah,
take the next step. And
yeah.
that's not really how life works. Sbongile is asking if you have many dreams and goals that you want to achieve. Do you have any suggestions on how to decide which one to where to start if you have many ideas and many goals?
Start from ground zero, which is about purpose. And if you're a believer, then I would suggest you go to prayer, go to God and ask, why am I here? What am I meant to do? In general, I would say begin to ask yourself some serious questions. I used to have a free resource before, I don't have it anymore. Well, it's not free resource anymore because I now use it as a proprietary document, where I would take women through the process of uncovering their true purpose. And the process in a nutshell, it's really about looking at, for example, your good experiences, your bad experiences, looking at your gifts and your talents, looking at the things that you're naturally good at, and some of us are good at a lot of things. That
Yes.
is the reason why we need to be so focused on seeking what I'm meant to do, right? And so you want to be asking yourself a little bit about that. You also want to be asking yourself, what would I die for? What would be the one thing I'd want to be remembered for when I die? If I could do one thing to change the world, what would that thing be? If I had no obstacles, no hindrances, no limitations, and I was able to do something, what would that one thing be? And one of the things I like to ask my clients when I do discovery calls is this. If you wake up tomorrow and a miracle happened, what would that miracle look like? What would you be doing? And so these are some of the questions that you can take yourself through, because to kind of get you to be centered on that one thing. You are in a doctoral program right now, so you understand the importance of zeroing in on one thing. When we do a dissertation, they don't say it's like one beach in the world. They don't say it's like, we know, one little cove. They say it's like a grain of sand.
Yes.
A grain of sand. In other words, the more focused you are on one thing, the possibility of being excellent at it is there. Doesn't mean you're not going to be doing other things, because I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, I preach, I do a bunch of stuff, but all of what I'm doing has a connection. I teach as well. I'm a professor for master's and PhD students. So I'm doing all of these things, but all of them are working together in a sense because I am focused and everything that I'm doing has a core, which is the same core. And so what I would say is to begin to question yourself, begin to dig into your life and see these things that are shaping you and what could have the greatest impact. I like to go the route of prayer because I want to be aligned. And so a
Yes.
lot of times, one of the things I want to say is a lot of times as women, we tend to think that we can only speak about our positive experiences, right? But what
Mm.
I've learned from dealing with people throughout the years is sometimes the most effective business things come out of what was supposed to be the worst experiences.
Yes.
I'm saying that to say sometimes the area of your focus might be the area where you have struggled. And now you're able to help people to be able to come out of a place of struggle, which is where you used to be. And so
Yeah.
your purpose and what you're meant to do may simply be aligned with something that you have already gone through, something that you love so much, something that people have been telling you, oh, you're doing a great job. And like I said, this is not a full measurement because I use prayer as my litmus test for all of what
Okay.
I'm doing right now so that you
Yeah.
can be full alignment. But it's really about knowing what it is you're called to do, what it is you're meant to do. And sometimes all of what you've gone through, your experiences, your education, your lack of education, whatever it is you've been through, sometimes all of them actually pointing you to that thing that you should be doing. It's that thing that keeps you up at night. It's that thing that you're thinking, if I was doing this, man, I would feel so good. It's that
Yeah.
thing that makes you feel good even when you're not doing it yet. And so these are just a few indicators of how you can choose an area of focus and just to help you to be able to start up what you want to do.
Okay. Thank you. Somebody says, I'm a woman who's facing transition and I feel like I'm too old to make the leap and make the change. I think you already alluded to waiting 9 years. So maybe you can speak to the woman who feels her season has passed.
Yeah, the truth is, if you are here, if you're alive, then it's not over.
Mm.
So age is not a factor. Age is not an indicator that you cannot do what you're meant to do. Actually, it's a blessing because it means that probably what you're meant to do, you're so seasoned in it that you're going to knock out everybody else because you have so much experience. I think a lot of times we use age as, and like you said, Elona, I could have said when I was going to college, because I had this fear that I had not been in the classroom for 9 years, that I was going to fail. So what I did is I used my energy positively. And I told myself, since I have not been in a classroom for 9 years, I am going to now have to focus more. And so what I did, I created a system of success for myself. And my system of success was that every single class that I have, every single assignment I have been given, I am going to do these assignments before the teacher's due date.
Okay.
That way, I would give my assignments in early. I would get feedback. I'm able to finalize them. It always meant that my stuff was always good because I did them so early.
Okay. Okay.
And so for me, when we think about age, think about the fact that you may have greater tools to do what you're meant to do. Because the younger people in my class wouldn't think to do what I was doing, but I had already worked for 9 years. I understood things about success. I understood different things, and I chose to use all the experience I had to help me be an excellent student, right? And so it's about the angle that you take. It's all about the mind because you get what you expect. If you are expecting at my age, I'm not going to, it's not going to happen, right?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
once we begin to shift things in our mind and recognize age has nothing on me. I mean, I've seen videos of a woman who started doing bodybuilding in her 50s
Yeah.
and she
Yes.
looks amazing and she started so late. I saw another little old lady who does weight, some other kind of weightlifting. She started also in her 50s. The point is it's never too late. It just
Yeah.
means you have much more experience, much more expertise, much more strategies to be a success at what you want to do much quicker than somebody who was less.
Awesome. So you have the advantage of experience, life experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Tandega says, thank you for this session. Powerful session. It has affirmed me directly and it's so relevant. Thank you, Nadine. Then I have one more before we get to, I don't want to run out of time because I'm sure they would love to know where can people get hold of you if they would like to connect with you and understand the programs that you offer. Yeah, maybe you can share that part for us.
Okay, I am on Facebook and I can also share it with you, Alona, the details, and you can like share it with your audience so
We'll
that
put
they
it
can.
in the comments. Yeah.
Yes, I'll send it to you, but you can check my website, Nadine, Nadine, Collins.com. I'm also on Facebook. I have a page, Nadine Collins in Ministry, but I have a women's group called Wow Women Leadership and Empowerment. I also have a YouTube channel. We're going to put it in the comment section where you can actually see all of the different
All
ways
the
that you
pages.
connect with
Yeah.
me. I'm on Instagram as well, Nadine Joseph Collins, I believe. And so there are so many ways to connect with me. And if you want to email me, you can email me at info@nadinecollins.com. That's info@nadinecollins.com. I'm looking forward to connecting with some of you ladies and maybe even having some of them attend or take part in the challenge, the 5-day challenge on fear to freedom, and also the cracking the fear code masterclass, because these will help a lot of what they're dealing with right now, and
Yeah.
even with mastering that number one fear, which is the goal of the challenge, is for them to be able to master the number one fear.
The fear.
I will share the details with you and we can have that in the chat. But you can always email me as well at info@nadinecollins.com.
.com. Thank you. I didn't want us to run out of time for that because Nadine said she's joining South Africa in celebrating Women's Month in the month of August. So do look out for some of her live videos and what she's offering. But on our side, it is very, very important. I can't emphasize more than she's done, that knowing your purpose is really the foundation of building your legacy. It's almost that if you know what your purpose is, you know you're going up the correct ladder. I have an analogy that I gave on my career building program that if you don't know where you're going, it's like your ladder is against the wrong building. So it's important to really clarify, where am I going and what am I going to do there before you start to put in the work. So thank you, Nadine. I'm just going to check if there's any last comment before we close. Violet says, my goodness, buy yourself the roses. That's
Yeah,
really nice.
I still do it up to today. I do it. I buy for my office, for my kitchen. You just gotta do what you have to do for you. Love you. And I'll share one principle for you ladies, right?
Mhm.
It's the idea that when you do these things for you, when people come into your life, they have to come in at that level.
Yes.
When they realize that you spoil yourself, when they come in, they spoil you too. And I had those experiences early in my life, even before I went to college, because I loved perfumes and I loved, at the time it was Citizens Watches. And what I realized is when my birthday came, I had sometimes 2 weeks of date time with people. Everybody was wanting to take me out. Everyone wanted to buy me.
Wow.
Even my boss would rush to buy the newest perfumes on the market for me because he knew I would buy it for myself. And so that's why I say, as women, we have to love us enough, spoil us, take care of ourselves. Because when people come into our lives, they realize I cannot just hang around. If she loves roses and I'm coming, I got to step it up.
Yeah.
But I don't wait for them to buy roses. Okay. My husband is not the kind to buy roses and stuff, but I have the credit card, so I buy them for myself.
Clever woman.
And what you do, if you have a husband or boyfriend, you take his credit card, you buy them, and you say, "Oh, this is from you."
Teaching him. Okay.
He probably wouldn't buy it because he's not that kind, but I have access to buy what I want. The point is, even before I was married, I would buy roses every single Friday for myself because it's nobody's responsibility. I love roses. It's not your responsibility to give me what I love. It's my responsibility to get what I love. If you get me them, oh, thank you so much. I was so thoughtful of you. But if you don't, I'll get them for myself. And so
Yeah.
when we begin to empower ourselves like that and realize if you're not going to spoil you, then don't chastise somebody else for not spoiling you. When you spoil yourself, you expect them to come at a higher level to spoil you as well. So my husband spoils me in other ways. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the point is we need to be as women lovers of ourselves. Love you enough so that other people will compete with you to love you.
Set
Carry
the
yourself.
standard.
Yeah. Have that nice high standard for yourself. Love you, you know. It doesn't mean everybody, because everybody doesn't know how to appreciate goodness. We better know that too. Doesn't mean because you love you, the guy that comes into your life, your husband, your boyfriend will do the same. Because sometimes a lot of people, they say you don't cast your pearls before swine. Some of them just don't know how to love us. But
Exactly.
that's why you have to love you enough for you and that person that doesn't know how to love you.
Yes, yes. We have a comment. Teresha says, I've never thought of fear as an indicator of anything I need to do. I'm looking at this differently from now on. And Felicia says, age brings fear and transition is scary. So thank you for the insights that you just shared earlier. Wendy says, from fear to freedom. I love it.
Yes. So the
So,
website, my YouTube channel has some of the webinars. Some of them are unlisted. I'll probably make them public so that women can listen, because it's going to change your whole mindset. And then for them to come to that masterclass
yeah.
on the 27th of August, it's going to be just amazing, because when we realize and change our mindset about fear, then fear becomes a free coach.
It gives you direction.
It does.
Cynthia says, time to fulfill our own expectations. Thank you. Thank you, Nadine. So hope you'll join us for the rest of the month. We will be meeting at lunchtime, your time, meeting with different women. Our next episode will be focusing on building your financial legacy. And the one after that, on the 13th, speaks about taking up our spaces. We've spoken about the fear of, oh, I won't get the job, I won't get the position, I won't start the business. We're having none of that. After today, we're taking up our spaces. And then after that, we will speak about something that is common in corporate, that people say women don't support each other. We'll have somebody who will speak about empowering other women. And on your platform as well, there's more resources in between. Hey. Thank you very much.
So happy Women's Month, ladies of South Africa. Have a wonderful time and remember to celebrate you.
Celebrate you. Yes, yes. Thank you and good evening and good afternoon.